what I was like at 2 years old. They weren't kidding around when they invented the phrase terrible twos, I will say. Hi, my name is Jadyn Davis, and today I'm going to explore childhood development through 4 different themes. I want to understand the elements that shape children during this critical period of time, from when they were born all the way until they were 5 years old. To help me out, I watched the Apple TV series Becoming You, which, fun fact, is narrated by Olivia Colman. Even before children are born, they're already learning how to shape their own development. In the last 3 months or around 10 weeks when children are in the womb, they're able to recognize the sounds that their mother makes and the sounds of her voice. And after they're born, they're able to differentiate the sounds that their mother has never made before with the sounds that she's continuously repeating while the child is in the womb. Newborn babies are naturally driven to imitate their mother's behaviors as a way to gain attention and strengthen their bond. For example, when babies cry, they often mimic the tone and inflections of their mother's voice. And by doing so, they're understanding that forming a connection with a caregiver is essential for their own survival and for their own development. Balkis is a baby who is only a few minutes old. But already she was displaying these looking preferences that guided her attention to the most informative aspects of her environment. While driving home from the hospital, she was in the car and was looking at her father as well as the birds flying in the sky. Infants like looking at moving objects as well as faces, so it makes complete sense that baby Balkis is directing her attention towards her father as well as the birds. Motor development is also hugely dependent on children's own activity. Let's look at Rufus, an 11-month-old boy who is learning how to walk. He understands that he needs to learn how to stand before he can be able to walk. In this clip, Rufus is using objects around his environment for support as he is trying to get up on his feet. He holds onto the couch for help until he can stand on his own. Rufus demonstrates how babies actively engage with their surroundings to develop the strength and coordination needed for motor skills, showing how self-directed exploration and interaction with the environment play a crucial role in his development. This is my friend Kendall. This is my friend Cassie. This is my friend Ashley. And this is my friend Talia. As you could probably tell, as a child, I was only really friends with girls. I played with my male cousins a few times and I had a boyfriend, but for the most part I was with my girlfriends and we would play with dolls, we had kitchen sets, we would pretend to be fairies, and this is not an uncommon experience across the world. 8 out of 10 times boys are going to be playing with boys and girls are going to be playing with girls. Gender segregation is rarely imposed also by adults. Usually it's just the child's preference for certain toys or certain activities, but it's something that the child is deciding on their own usually. As children continue to interact with the world around them, they are picking up different societal expectations and behaviors and tend to conform more to peers and other people's behaviors. Older children are also able to describe their traits and their characteristics. They have certain preferences for food, activities, types of people, style. They pick up passions, which help them understand how they stand out to others. Lastly, children develop skills of maintaining and regulating their behavior, which helps them cope with negative aspects that life often can bring. What I found so special about Becoming You was how so many different cultures were represented of children all across the world. Something that babies do cross-culturally is get the attention of others. They understand the importance of forming bonds and gaining attention through smiling, or cooing, and even survival tactics like crying. For example, the series showed Alu, a child raised in South Africa who lost his grandmother at the market. Once Alu lost sight of her, he began to cry, which signaled his grandmother to go and look for him. His grandmother was able to find Alu, and eventually he stopped crying. Children's ability to learn language is also influenced by their socio-cultural environment. For example, Lily is a 10-month-old infant who was born deaf, just like her 2 parents. Lily strings hand movements together rather than sounds to communicate with others. One might think that because Lily is deaf, that her language development might be delayed or limited. However, that is not the case whatsoever. Since Lily is growing up in a household where sign language is the primary mode of communication, she's increasingly immersed in a linguistically supportive environment from the start of her birth. Some children are raised in environments where they learn multiple languages. From 0 to 5, children are in this critical stage of development where their ears and brains are uniquely receptive to the sounds and the rhythms of language. As a result, children get this incredible advantage of being able to communicate with people from a wide variety of different cultures and different backgrounds, and this opens doors to like deeper connections and broader perspectives throughout the world.
How about you can be the princess? Yeah. No, I'm the princess. I'm the princess. No, I am.
You can both be the princess.
Yeah! Both princess.
Yeah.
So that was a video clip of me fighting with my cousins over who got to be the prince and who got to be the princess. Our argument shows how individual differences come to play, especially through the emerging role of gender. Even at 3 years old, gender roles are already established through family, media, and societal expectations. My cousin Jonah already knew that he was going to be the prince, since he's the boy. Me and my cousin Cassie were fighting over who could be the princess. We didn't know that we could both be princesses until our uncle brought up the option. Gender differences are related to a wide variety of other differences. We see this when children form friendships and begin learning how to play. For example, boys tend to have single-sex friend groups at a younger age and engage in more physically aggressive and violent play. However, there's so much variability within each gender, and we see this all the time through children's traits and characteristics and also their everyday interests. Even though Kieran was born a boy, he is currently going through a princess phase. He loves to wear dresses and match them with sparkly shoes. For children, gender is superficial, just like the clothes that they wear. There are many biological, behavioral, and cognitive processes that help children develop. For example, Yugan Bayar is a 4-year-old child who lives in Mongolia. As a nomadic family, Yugan Bayar needs to learn how to get onto and ride a reindeer, which is a huge challenge for a small child. Yugan Bayar struggles on his own, but when his father goes step by step and gives him directions, he is able to get onto the reindeer. This shows how a parent can support in scaffolding, which is a method of social learning where a more knowledgeable person provides temporary support when a child is learning a new activity or task. Scaffolding allows a beginner to do more than they could without help. So, good parents may use scaffolding to help their child with learning how to read a book, or maybe learn to swim, or even maybe how to pet a goat. For example, when 5-year-old Eva is trying to learn how to surf, her muscles and her joints are sending signals to the brain, which is allowing her to balance without looking down. This mental process is called proprioception, and it's controlled by parts of the brain, such as the cerebellum and the brainstem. The most amazing thing about these mechanisms is that they all work together to create change. As I've been reflecting and observing in Washington Square Park, I can't help but feel grateful for all of the gifts that children have brought us. Their creativity, imagination, biological nature, cognitive functioning, and behaviors are all something that come together to form this integrated, multifaceted, and complex self, one that is so unique and so beautiful to witness. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time to listen to this presentation. I hope that the next time you interact with a child, that you'll carry forward the lessons from this video and apply them in ways that foster their development.